watching. The guy in front of me, Niro, is big bro in other terms. But you know, we both, even though with the age gap, we've both found our own journey here.
Yeah.
But for those that don't know, Niro is a emotional resilience coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, would that be the right title? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, Niro is one of those guys that just every day his goal is to help people, reach their potential. And I've been watching him for a while. Very blessed to know you. Very grateful to know you. And it's just amazing the stuff that you've been doing for some time now. And I know we've been trying to get together for some time as well. But yeah, be sure to check him out. We'll drop some details at the end of the podcast. But yeah, Niro's been kind enough to come through, and we wanted to kind of get straight to it. And something that's been bothering you for a while is just this whole coronavirus and the impact that it has on humanity.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about that, bro.
Look, first of all, my heart goes out to everyone that has been impacted physically in those countries that are being put on lockdown. And it's very close to home for every single one of us right now. We haven't been prepared. We're not prepared, right? And this is not something that although there has been people like Bill Gates talking about this for quite a few years, that our next crisis is going to be something like this.
It's funny, my mum just mentioned it to me just literally before you came. That Bill Gates was,
I mean, he did a TED talk on exactly this.
Right?
And there's been other psychics, Chinese psychics, right, that have said that this is coming out years ago. But who would have thought? Right. However, I do feel that this is our opportunity, right? People like yourself, people like myself, everyone, like we're seeing our global consciousness right now is going into panic, right? And we're going into a place that we are creating history right now, right? Like never before. We are creating history right now. So right now, the people that are watching, the people that are listening, you and me, we have an obligation right now. How do we want history to be created? How do you want history to be written? Because this thing, I am 100% certain, right, that we're going to recover from this. We've gone through worse, right? And I have 100% faith in humanity. I have 100% faith in life. I have 100% faith in our collective consciousness. We're going to survive, no question asked, right? Because life will always survive. But how we survive, now that's the question. Are we going to go back 500 years, 1,000 years, or is this going to push us forward like 10,000 years, right? To me, coronavirus, this whole crisis that we're going through right now, this is an opportunity for awakening. And I'm so fucking excited about this, right? This is our opportunity to really evolve humanity right now, right? And to people like you and me and the people that are watching, the people that are listening, it is our opportunity right now to really evolve humanity. Because with everything that's going on, we think that we are being robbed by a lot of things, right? That we are being robbed by toilet paper, right? Pasta, rice, right? I mean, all of these things are important. I'm not taking that away from anyone, right? But we only have two options right now. Option number one is to panic. And this is what majority of us are doing, right? We're panicking. And I want to introduce option number two. And this option number two is to get excited, right? to actually get excited.
People probably think you're crazy when you say that, right?
Yeah. Because what's happening, like, and to be honest, people have been calling me crazy all my entire life. I mean, hey, why should coronavirus be any different? Right? Because look, what's happening right now is we're panicking. Right? Now I'm going to, like, shopping centers right now. Right? And how are we treating each other? It's not okay. Right? How are we treating people that are not our immediate circle? It's not okay. How are we treating the elders? Right? People are pushing over old people and disabled people to get to the front of the line. Like we all saw what happened at Chilora as well, right? I mean, that's not okay. I totally understand and respect that these women were freaking out, right? But it's happening everywhere right now, right? That's not okay, and this is what's going to happen as we're going down the panic line, right? But here's what's going to happen even more. This is just the beginning. This is going to go ahead for at least another 3 months, at least at a bare minimum. This is going to happen for the next 3 months. Things are going to get shut down.
Yeah, well, they're talking about 6 months. Next 6 months.
Yeah.
If need be.
If need be. I mean, like, America's pretty much on a 30-day shutdown. Right? People can't come into Australia right now with a 2-week quarantine. Right? Events are being cancelled. You told me today that any events over 100 people, they're going to be cancelled. More and more people are going to be working at home. Guess what happens when you work at home? All the people that have been the high achievers, right? The workaholics, right? The people that say, hey, I'm working so hard for my family. Now you're going to be stuck with your family, right? And all the shit that hasn't been resolved is now going to come up to surface.
Just by being in that environment.
Just being stuck with your loved ones. Right? Just being stuck with your loved ones. All the unprocessed emotions, all the unprocessed trauma, all the stuff that you haven't told your mother or your father or your loved one, right? Guess what? You're going to be with them 24 hours a day now, and you've got to sort this out, right? This is our opportunity for us to love more, for us to heal our past wounds, for us to slow down. Right? I mean, all of us, like even myself included, right? This is not just saying I'm excluded. But all of us have been chasing the dollar, trying to make a career, build something, and we're doing it for our family, right? Even I said that.
Yeah.
Right? And now, globally, right? The universe has given us an opportunity, forced us to slow the fuck down. Right? To slow the fuck down. Stay home with your loved ones. Right? To calm down. Right? And use this opportunity to connect with the ones that are really important. More so, use this opportunity to really connect with yourself. Do you know who's going to be most impacted by all of this? And I'm not talking about just physically. The people that are going to be most impacted, right, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, are the control freaks, the high achievers.
Because, you just said the word, they're not going to have control, right? And that's what they're used to. That's what they rely on, is to be able to know what they're going to do next. But now, the people the people that really need a level of certainty in their life. Right? And life, by its definition, is uncertain. Right? We can walk out right now. Right? Anything can happen. Right? So the control freaks, and you would know by looking at them who they are. They're normally quite anxious people, very fearful and always thinking about. They're very career focused, and I'm all about career. I'm like, I love that stuff, right? But it's all about achievement, progress. We can't progress, right?
people that put a lot of value behind money. And don't get me wrong, I love money and money loves me.
Yeah.
Right? I love money and money loves me.
Yeah.
But money is a low vibration. Right? Because money itself has no value. Right? And around this time, the things that are going to leave is anything fake. Right? Anything fake. Fake personalities, fake personas, fake relationships. Right? Money, fake. Because money itself has no value. It's what you do with the money is what has value.
100%.
Right?
I agree. Yeah.
You know, like you going on these holidays and spending by the beaches. Now that is a value. You know, you having the opportunity to go to, like, you know, temples, shrines, whatever, like, you know, buy a meditation program or buy a coach or get a video service. Now that itself has a value, but money itself has no value. And we're seeing everything fake crashing right now. Look at the stock market, crashing right now, right? Everything that is fake is going to be crashing. So on a personal level, on a relationship level, right? Having this fake relationship with your parents, now that is going to crash. Having a fake relationship with your wife, that itself is going to crash. A fake relationship with your kids, your friends, everything fake is going to crash. Your persona of I've got my shit sorted out, that's going to crash. This is why the people, control freaks that need a huge level of certainty, are going to be the ones that are going to be most impacted emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Right? They're going to be impacted severely. Right? And my heart goes out to these people. And I'm very excited for these people. This is the awakening that we've all been waiting for. And it's here.
Well, I guess we got no real choice in the matter either, right? And I know we spoke briefly off camera yesterday, but we were and I was telling you, like, it would take something like this to really expose humanity in all its different facets and how we operate and how we move and how we are day to day, and like you said, how we deal with people, relationships, like, who knows, like, right? The word they keep using is unprecedented, right? So unprecedented means, fuck, we don't know what it's going to be like in 2-3 months, right? It could be worse, it could be get better, who knows? But if it does get worse, then we're going to rely on our personalities and how we treat each other to function. You know what I mean? Because we're all gonna, you know, end of the day, like you're talking about the whole toilet paper thing, like, you know, we had a good laugh about it because I was like, it's not the fact that you shouldn't be worried.
Yeah.
It's that look at what it's making you do, right? In order to feel security, to feel, you know, to have a sense of like confidence as to like you have your shit sorted out, or, you know, worrying about your family or worrying about your loved ones, and like, I need to make sure that you know, they're all looked after.
Yeah.
But at what what stage are you willing to do all of that? You know what I mean? In terms of like the impact, in terms of like, are you willing to do all of that on the basis of everything else that's going to be impacted by it, which is like relationships, how you treat people, like like it's going to create paranoia. And something that I was just thinking right now when you brought it up was that, like, something that I've raised in conversations before was that, like, if you look at, just take for example migrants. I know this is going a bit left field, but I'll try my best to connect it, right? So you look at just migrants and look at, you know, immigrants all around the world that have, you know, flown over from their home countries through civil war and all those different aspects, right? Whether it's war, famine, poverty, whatever it is, right? And the other day I was posing a question to someone about, say for example, if you take our culture, right? We're Hindus, we're Tamils, right? Now, and like every culture that's got a kind of a migrant mentality, or are migrants from other countries around the world that have come to Australia or wherever it is, right? Who have left their home country. The question I posed to them was like, why is it that we're so egotistic towards each other? Why is it that when we see another brother or sister from our background doing so well, that we immediately in our mind, our first thing is to shut it down, or to give an excuse to yourself that they are where they are because of some pure luck, or just luck in general that you didn't have, you know. And it was something that I'm working on behind the scenes, and that was kind of the question that I was gonna work off. Right, that was gonna lead me to the answers that I want people to know, and people to figure out for themselves that they've always known, is that we weren't born to hate each other. Like, if your ancestors were my ancestors' neighbors back in our home country, we weren't born to hate each other. But through how we treat humans, whether it's through government, through laws, through through the lack of resources to go get work, or the inequality, right? What inequality does is inequality then starts to create this little one group that doesn't get the same slice of the cake, right? So eventually, when say out of every 20, one gets a slice of the cake, another one gets out of a slice of the cake, right? People are naturally gonna start like evolving. Their mentality is gonna start evolving, and it's gonna become what it is over time that I've seen, which is it's either my family or his family. And that wasn't something that they were born with. That was something that evolved through the conditions that they were in. Right? So like me thinking, fuck his family. Like I gotta worry about my family. I wasn't born like that. I wasn't born with that mentality. The situation, the environment created that mentality, created me to force me to have to think that way. Because end of the day, the situation is that not everyone's gonna get the slice of the cake, and people are getting killed, or people are getting targeted, and it's like, well, you're gonna do whatever it takes to survive. But in that process, right, you're getting questioned, and you're getting you're getting to see the flip side to it. You know what I mean? And the flip side is that a lot of things of your physical being and your living being is getting challenged. Whether it's morals, whether it's like the other day I went to Aldi, there was like 4 toilet roll. You know what I mean? And someone was like, "How many did you get?" I said, "Bro, I got one. I got one because I didn't need more than one." You know what I mean? And you see people behind you, like, you know what I mean? They're like, and I'm thinking like, if the last one was there and I went to grab it, God knows if someone's gonna come swinging over their back. You know what I mean? And it's like, look where we've got to.
100%. But you know what does my head in is that we are not going through a shortage. Right? We're like, we have enough. We have enough. In fact, they're printing more toilet paper.
It's just because the rate that people are buying it
it's
high.
It's the panic psychology. And this is what I'm saying. If you're like, you've got 2 options right now. You can either go into panic or you can get excited about this. Right? But what you can't do is sit in the middle. It's a switch. Right? Like I was speaking to, so I've got a program called the Warrior Program, right? And a lot of people that are coming, like half the people there are,
Tell people a little bit about the Warrior Program before you kind of dive in.
So the Warrior Program, was pure, until now, it was just in Sydney, right? So basically I limit this group to about 15 people, and I take them on a journey which lasts them about 4 months. Okay? And in these places, we work on emotions, emotional resilience, overcoming, processing emotions, but more importantly, figuring out what the fuck do you want out of life, right? And creating tangible things in order to get there, right? We create more passion. One of my enemies in the Warrior Program is this thing called loneliness, right? Because loneliness is why I do the things that I do. My life, my personal life, I was crippled with loneliness. And when you look at the studies with all mental health areas, loneliness is the underlying factor in all forms of mental health.
I agree.
Right? As humans, we're not meant for loneliness. Loneliness is humanity's kryptonite. Right? And so the opposite end of that, right, is things like passion, purpose, impact. So the Warrior Program is designed for those people that are wanting a life of more passion, purpose, and impact. Look, the Warrior Program is designed for people that can't set boundaries, right? Can't process emotions or haven't been taught to. Because all these things, we're not born with it. We're not born with knowing our purpose.
That's exactly it.
We're not born with knowing what our values are and what we're here to do. Like on a soul level, we know this.
Yeah.
But on a conscious and emotional level, we don't know this. So the Warrior Program is about connecting people back to who they really are, and how to actually go out there and figure out what is it that you want. So I take people on a 4-month journey. All this time has been face to face. Now things are going to change, and I'm really grateful for this because now it's forced me, and this is what I'm talking about, getting excited. Now it's forced me into how do I make this online now, right? How do I make this online? And because of this, I can now serve more people, not just in people in Sydney that live around this certain area. How can I now serve the planet on promoting this program to other areas as well? Right? So that's one of the things that I'm excited. But going back to the story, is a lot of people saying, hey, Niro, I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking, but I'm not excited. Right? Here's the thing. If you are not excited, you're on the verge of panicking. Right? Because if you're telling yourself, hey, I'm not panicking, it's like saying, hey, can you not think, whatever you do not think of the color blue. What are you thinking about right now?
Yeah, obviously the color blue.
No, look, your life, right, is determined, right, of not thinking about the color blue. What are you thinking about right now? What if I told you that your mother and your father, like, your wife, their future is determined by you not thinking about the color blue? What are you still thinking about? Right? So if you're saying I'm not panicking, your consciousness is still revolved around the concept of panicking.
100%.
So one thing hits, like, your wife goes off at you, right? At the same time, the government says, stay in your room, and you're out of toilet paper, you're out of pasta, you're out of food, right? All restaurants are shut. What are you going to do? You're going to go on panicking. And it's not because of this one thing that happened in the last 10 minutes. It's because your consciousness has been revolved around not panicking. One thing happens, boom, you're panicking.
The whole ship comes crashing.
Right? So whereas if we bring this new neurological pathways, right? In other words, a new thought process, a new consciousness into play right now, and I'm going to help all your listeners to do that in today's session, right? If we can bring our new consciousness around getting excited, right? Getting excited. We're going to create these new neurological pathways right now. This concept of actually getting excited. Because when we so if I was to tell you, I'm going to give you the solution on how you can save everyone's life by not thinking of the color blue, right? All I need to tell you is think of orange.
True.
Right?
Yeah, true.
Think of orange.
Yeah, because now orange.
And if you think of orange, you'll save your wife, you'll save your mother, you'll save society. So think of orange. What are you thinking of now?
100%.
See, the thing is that when we tell our mind, don't think of something, it's like you, right? If I was to tell you, dude, do not drink that water, you're not going, fuck you, Niro, I'm going to drink that, Niro, I'm going to drink that water. Right? That's what you're going to say.
It's like almost like since you're kids, maybe you're told not to do something, the first thing in your head is, I'm fucking do it.
Exactly. And our subconscious, our consciousness is not different. So instead of saying not to do something, let's drive our mind into doing something else instead. So instead of not focusing on not panicking, too many knots there, right? Let's start getting excited. Because I promise you, whatever you want in life, right? Whether if it's more love, more money, right? More purpose, more passion, coronavirus, this concept, this crisis has now given us the chance, the opportunity to do exactly that. Is to do exactly that. right? A lot of people want more money for whatever reason. Again, money has no value. Why is it that you want that money? What is it supposed to give you? For me, it was the ability to impact as many people as I possibly can. And guess what? This video is going to impact a lot of people, and this is because of the coronavirus. No one would have listened to me otherwise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have put their mental health as a priority. They wouldn't have put their personal development as a priority. So I'm excited because more people are going to be listening to people like me, people like you, right? They've got now the time and the space. Because one of the common things that I don't have time to worry about my mental health. I don't have time to worry about my relationships. I don't have time to worry about my mother, my father, my wife. I don't have time for that. Guess what? Now you do.
Yeah, now you do. Yeah.
Right?
I like the way that you've kind of the way you've looked at it, and it's not even like a different perspective. It's a reality. Like it's unless you're aware of it, and like you said, consciously aware that this is what's happening and this is what could happen. Everyone's just going to be caught up in this false reality. But the reality is that, like you said, it's going to really challenge people. There's a whole other aspect of it outside of just getting the coronavirus and being treated by it.
Yeah.
It's your whole level of consciousness in terms of thinking, in terms of like how your daily life, your routine. Like you said, some people, routine is everything, right?
Yeah.
And now that whole routine is going to get broken into pieces, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the natural reaction is to panic. The natural reaction is to be worried because it's like, well, this is all I've ever known. This way is all I've ever known.
And it's also the collective consciousness at the moment. Humanity at this point in time, their go-to is panic. Right? Even before this coronavirus. Right? When you look at the stats, when you look at mental health stats, 46%, this number is going to jump significantly. The stock market crashed by 20% in the last week or two, right? Last week, right? Mental health is going to increase by at least 40%, especially with social distancing, right? The way that we're doing it, especially this panic crisis. Mental health is going to increase, and we're going to see this ripple effect take over for at least the next few years. Because of what's happening right now, okay? Unless we change how we think at this very moment. So going back to it, on a social consciousness, right? Mental health, before this stuff happened, right? Close to about 48% of Australians suffer with some form of mental health in their life. 1 in 3 suffer with anxiety, right? 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 suffer with depression. There are 8 suicides in Australia per day.
That's crazy.
Per day,
isn't it?
6 of them are men.
Yeah.
Right? Six of the 8 per day are men. Like, coronavirus hasn't even touched any of this, right? So this has been our norm. This has been our humanity's consciousness. And Australia is one of the privileged countries. You go to America or you go to UK, a lot worse. 76% of Australians hate their job. Right? They hate their job. And our employment, our job is what we do majority of our life.
Yeah, exactly.
We sacrifice spending time with our loved one to do something that we hate.
Yeah.
Like,
we spend more time at work than you do sometimes with your family, right?
Yeah.
So,
right? And it doesn't make sense. This is now our opportunity to rethink things. Right? And I'll tell you what, the people that don't have passion and purpose and impact in their career, they're going to lose it. If not in the next few weeks, they're going to lose it. Right? Because the coronavirus is God's gift to us, is saying, wake the fuck up. Right? Wake up. Change. I'm giving you everything right now. Right? He's even giving us a lot of toilet paper and everything like that. Right? It's just that we're consuming at a fucking crazy rate. There is actually no shortage. Right? We are actually abundant with food. It's just our mentality right now is going a bit crazy. Right? So what we now need to do is move from this panic and go into a place of getting excited. So how do we get excited? First of all, it's a decision. The real thing is, do you want to panic or do you want to get excited? You can't sit in the middle. Right? Because Niro, there's nothing to get excited about. Well, in that case, you're already panicking and you just haven't realized it yet. Right? You just haven't realized. You haven't gone out there and bought 50 rolls of toilet paper, but in the background, what you don't realize it's happening, you're on the verge of going out there and buying 50 rolls of paper or doing something crazy. Now, how do you tell if you're on the way of panicking? Are you judging? So going back to your statement about how a brown person sees another brown person and says, like, fuck you, or judges you, right? Why do people do that? Is because they feel better about their own life by seeing someone successful and saying, fuck you, you cheated to get there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And that's the panic psychology. I'm seeing this as I'm going to Woolies, right, and Coles. Everyone's looking at each other. If we lose our humanity in this crisis, we have lost more than we can possibly imagine. If we lose who we are. See, what the funny thing is, all these spiritual people, right? They talk about spiritual, they meditate, they do personal development, and they go to Woolies and they push someone over to get something else. That's not spirituality. This is our time to put everything that we've learnt, everything that life has taught us into practice. It is a time now to make an impact. And if we don't do that now, we've lost more than we can imagine. So how do we change it from panic into excitement? Is really, really asking, what's the benefit here? And we do this in NLP quite a lot, right? To change the way we think, we've got to ask ourselves better questions. I saw a tagline on Facebook and it says, "This is how we die." Right? We're talking about the coronavirus. This is how we die. And, no, sorry, is this the way we die? So it's put as a question, right? And so that question stuck in my subconscious mind, and I caught myself jumping out of the shower, going to bed, right, asking myself, is this how we die? Is this how we... So that was the question. And I actually started feeling a knot in my stomach, right? I started feeling a knot in my stomach, and this is all happening subconsciously, right? And then I sat down to meditate, and then I was like going, why do I feel this? Hang on, what's going on here? And I recalled in the back of my mind that tagline, "Is this how we die?" right, was running around. Because it was just something that stuck out on Facebook, right, as I was scrolling through. It was stuck there, and I was asking myself, and it was going there like a mantra, like saying Om Namah Shivayas, right? And I was saying, is this how we die? On a subconscious level, and all of a sudden my body is kind of like, about to reject something, right? So, the questions that we ask ourselves: do we have good leaders? Is there going to be a cure? Right? All of these things are happening in our back. We're asking ourselves these questions. Instead, if we change the quality of the questions that we're asking, right, we will change the quality of our life.
Agree. Yeah.
Right? The reason why our life is the way it is, like, for example, going back a few years, my life was filled with trauma, depression, and anxiety. And the questions I was asking is, the statements and the questions that I was asking myself, are you worthy of doing this? Like, even this job that I'm doing right now, right? The question I was asking 5 years before I even started this, saying, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, no one's going to want to listen to you. These were statements, but also the questions. Why do you want this? Is this ego, right? So if we change the quality of our questions, we're going to move from panic, because right now, what if I don't have enough? Right? Poverty mindset, right? What if I don't have enough? What if there's going to be no toilet paper left? I'm going to wash my ass. What if, right? What if, there's no this and there's no that and, all of the stuff. These are the quality that we're asking, and we are automatically going into panic.
Yeah.
Right? So instead, ask better questions. Like, for example, what's the benefit of this? Right? So for me, what's the benefit of this crisis, for me, the benefit is human evolution, human consciousness. This is a time where we display more compassion and empathy. How I did that, I went shopping today, last night, and all I did, every time I made eye contact with someone, I just smiled. Right? And most of them were wearing masks, so I can tell they were smiling inside, right? But that itself, it just relaxed, it just changed someone.
Sets the tone straight
Just set
away.
the tone.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's me giving compassion, like just oozing out compassion to the people there. Because everyone's there, it's like, I don't want to touch anything. There was people wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to touch anything. I might catch it.
Yeah.
Right? And guys, even if we do, 99.99999% of us will still survive.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
There are a small percentile of people that really have to be careful, and guys, do not disagree. Do not. Right now is not the time to challenge our experts, challenge our leaders. Listen, if the government says to shut down, we shut down. If the government says no more than 100 people, then no more than 100 people. Now is not the time to actually challenge our leaders. We need to listen. We should have challenged them before, if we didn't like them, or we can challenge them after. Right now, we need to listen to the experts. Okay, so putting that aside, changing the quality of the questions. One of the things is, what is the benefit? What is the benefit behind this crisis? You've got to ask yourself this. Because with everything, right, if you think there's a negative side, there is also a positive side.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, not to butt in, but asking those, like you're talking about asking the right questions, and obviously, like, for example, right, there's a lot of us, even day to day, even maybe the people that are panicking at the moment, right, that have been in different situations, right, in life, and challenges that have been thrown at them, right. There might be negative, there might be a negative spin to something that happened, but they've trained themselves to look at the positive of that impact, right?
Yeah.
So, if you were waiting, okay, let's take job interviews, for example. You want a job so badly, there's one specific job. You've applied for multiple roles, right? You didn't get the one you wanted, but you got the one second down the list instead, right? For a long time, you were like, damn, I didn't get the one I wanted. But then maybe a month from now, right, just by thinking, you know what, maybe it wasn't for me. Right, you'll learn to appreciate the next call that you get. Right, and we practice that. Not everyone, but we practice that now. A lot of the things that you're mentioning, I feel like I've seen humanity practice it.
Yes.
But I find that we pick and choose when to practice these things.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation, right? Like, just for example, like with the negative spin, there is obviously a positive side to it.
Yeah.
But it's whether you're aware and willing to be aware of it. And you're talking about asking the right questions, right? If I don't know to do something, like every person in this world, now with the access to phones and Google and fucking multiple information on anything that you want to know, right? Now, take for example, editing videos, all right? And, something that was, not basic editing, like detailed editing, something that was new for me, something that I had to learn myself, right? To do what I want to do, right? Now, I wanted to know, I need to know, because I needed to know to function what I'm trying to do. So what do? I go onto Google and I fucking read and I watch videos and whatever. Why? Going back to what you said, I ask the right questions, right? Now, how do I do this? I want to do this, but how do I do this? Where do I go? Where do I go look? So I asked the questions to Google, and Google gave me the answers, all these links, all these videos, all these tutors that, run through exactly what to do, because I went looking for it. But I feel like you can't pick and choose the situations. You decide to be positive in a negative situation and whatnot, because no matter how negative the situation is, the strength comes from, even through that adversity, finding some good out of it, right? For example, last 6-7 months, right, I left my full-time job that I've been for 13 years, since I was 19 years old, right? I'm 32 now, to go and work on something that I've always dreamt of, right? Every day I used to dream of this. Every time I was in those four walls inside a corporate building, my imagination was outside those windows in the open world about what the possibilities are, right? And with taking that journey so far comes from the fact that you gotta, you gotta, the term I don't use anymore now that I used to is called sacrifices. Now I say investing. I don't know if you heard of a guy called David Meltzer, but I'm a big fan of his stuff. And something he said is, you don't sacrifice things, you're investing in yourself. It's not, so when people say, oh, I sacrifice this, I need to sacrifice this, think of it as you're investing in yourself. And just like you're talking about words, you're talking about what you put in your mind. Just by now me, like a mantra, saying no matter what I have done, I'm investing in myself. I instantly feel better. I instantly feel like I'm heading in the right direction and I know where I'm going just by using that word, instead of saying, oh, I just sacrificed my family time. No, I invested in myself for the benefit of my family. You know what I mean? So, so like, I just feel like no matter the situation, you just like, so for example, the last 6 months, whatever, the flip side is that I'm not working. Right, so I'm not financially bringing what I normally bring to the table because I'm working on something that may or may not work, but in hindsight and what I'm envisioning down the future is going to be something that represents my life. Represents who I am, represents what I bring to the world and to humanity. You know what I mean? And that's gonna, and so even though, and my wife's the one that, she's the one that kind of like, like every time I go down that detour is that she reminds me, like, would you know what you know now if you didn't take that journey? You know more now, you know more about yourself now, and you know more about where you're heading and how to go about everything, right? Now, because of this little journey that you went on and you invested in yourself, so you know more now. So she always reminds me that no matter how hard it is now, it's going to be so much more easier down the track because you make this choice. And there's so much you're like, and that's what she said. She goes, 2020 is the year of no bullshit for you because you're tired of bullshit. That's what she said to me. She's like, I feel like you're just going to tell everyone.
I love that.
It is what it is, like to their face. She goes, she's been noticing that. Because she's like, I feel like you've really reinvigorated yourself, but you found yourself. You found what is it that makes you tick as a human being. So she's like, as we're sitting here, would you know these things? And I said, no, I wouldn't, because I'll be stuck in that same cycle trying to survive. Right? I get through my normal working day, and then I go to training or whatever it is, and I love my training and whatnot. But what I noticed now was that my training and me competing was a drug. It was a drug like alcohol. Like I'm still planning to compete and whatnot. But what I thought about it was that it was just like me waiting for the end of the week to have a beer because of the mind state that I was in. I loved it. I felt like an animal. I felt like I was free. I felt like I was myself when I train and when I'm training for a fight or when I'm competing and whatnot. I feel 100% myself. But what happens when it finishes? You got to go back to reality. And the reality brings you down more and impacts you more than anything else. So I realized that I was just looking forward to this, right? Because it allowed me to be myself. But it's not always going to be there. So what happens when it all goes? Am I just going to go back to being this person that sits there thinking, oh, what's next? So by me kind of going on this little journey, stripping everything away, and I remember it's funny because back in, I think it was in June, July, I said to myself, I want to go back to the mentality of living out of a suitcase. That's what I told my wife. That's what I told some of my close confidants, is that this is what I want to do. And literally, bro, that's what happened. And I felt like it was like, God's like, okay, you opened your fucking mouth, now you're gonna have to live it. But it was amazing because since I was 19, all I've ever known is going to work, making money. So you kind of lose it. There's a whole 8-9 years of growth that I didn't get to kind of explore because of this routine, you know what I mean, that I was in, and I thought I was doing everything I should be doing because that's all I was ever told growing up, right? Like you said, the value, not the value of what money gets you when you're doing things, but the ideology of having money. You know what I mean? So you hit a certain tax bracket and you're thinking, fuck, I did it at such a young age, like I made my parents proud, I made everyone else proud. Now what?
And you're feeling dead and empty inside.
And bro, And that's exactly the two words that someone asked me is like, said to me. I said, that's exactly the two words that I felt at one point, because I realized that, yeah, I can go on many holidays. I can go and do this. I can go buy this. But the sense of waking up, the purpose, because I'm a person that's driven by a purpose. If I have a purpose, then I'm a scary person in the sense that I'll do whatever it takes to achieve that purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you need to slow the fuck down, because you need to have headspace to even sometimes be in your own headspace, right? To figure out, what is it that I'm trying to do? How do I go about it?
Yeah.
Figuring the little puzzles to the pieces, because all this takes time. It takes thinking, it takes thought, it takes memory going into your head. So if you have 10-hour days where you just, fucking 7 to 4 working, then 4 to 6:30 training, then you come home, you got to be a husband. You can't be a slouch. You can't just expect other people and your wife and partner or whoever it is to feel for you. Like, that's not what that's not what you got in this for. You know what I mean? You got to uphold what you're doing. So I realized that you can't just pick and choose when you decide to be happy and positive about negative spins. You gotta, if that's how you should always be, no matter what the situation is. Because end of the day, the truth is, you can't change the situation, right? But you can change the way you think about it, the way you treat people. So that's kind of what, like, I get what you're saying. What you're saying, and it's something that I've noticed, is that you can't pick and choose. When you decide to be positive in a negative situation, because it all comes in different forms, right?
And what I try to do is actually bring people away from the whole negative or positive psychology, right? Because if we go into positive or negative psychology, right, we're going into good, bad, right, wrong, right? It's neither one. It's either this or it's that. It's what it is and what it isn't, right? Now, if we start thinking that way, we then come from a place of choice. Panic or excitement. Neither one are wrong. Neither one are bad. Which one would you rather live life like?
Definitely not in panic.
Not in panic. You want to be in excitement, right? Live from that place of actually being excited. Now, guys, you probably missed this, but like when you were talking about this, you came to life. Right? It's like when I'm talking about my stuff, I come to life. You're beaming for that. Now, that feeling that we just felt, and I hope that your listeners and your viewers can actually see it, this stuff, now this is why we live for this shit. Right? Like, this vibration that we are putting out, this is why we live for this shit. Nicholas Tesla actually said this. Actually said this. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think energy, vibration, frequency. Right? Think energy, vibration, frequency. Okay? Panic, low vibration, low energy, very dark frequency. Excitement, high frequency, high vibration, right? High energy. Right? For anyone that knows a little bit about law of attraction knows that these people are going to be attracting what the wildest dreams, right? These people panic, right? They're going to cause more mental health issues, relationship breakdowns, loneliness, physical problems. The funny thing is, the one thing that's going to help us through coronavirus is your immune system, right? That's the one thing. Right now, that's it. That's it. Now, you go into panic, your immune system is the first one to go out. Right? And like, coronavirus is the least of your problems at that point. Okay? So with excitement, I call this as the panic consciousness and the excitement consciousness. The excitement consciousness is living from a place of passion, right? Finding out what your passion is, finding out what your purpose is, right? And creating a vision for you to move forward. That this vision that is greater than life. Now you're on your path, and I think you're almost there, where you're seeing a vision that is greater than your life. Right? And it's us that's going to survive this. Because I know with absolute certainty that this planet right? Until my vision, I don't have to achieve it, but the ball has to be rolling there. And I know that I'm not even close to achieving that. And I cannot leave this planet until I do. Now, if I was to get the coronavirus and I do die, then it means to me that my death is what's going to make this vision come true. Either way, I've made peace with life and death. The outcome is irrelevant. But what I'm certain about is that my vision is what's going to come true. My purpose is going to come true. Right? And I'm protected by that. I'm protected by that. And I know you know that, which is why we're catching up face to face in an enclosed room, right?
Yeah.
Because your vision is bigger than what's this panic crisis, right? And my vision is bigger than this, and this is why we wanted to jump online and actually talk about, what really matters right now, and really urge people to really start looking at their life right now. You've got the time, you've got the space, and you've got the technology. Like, I feel that the universe has been taking care of us, every single one of us, so much that it's been preparing us for this moment, right? It's been preparing us for this moment. Now, I don't know about you, but for the majority of this planet, 2019 was a fucker of a year, right? A fucker of a year, 2019. But in that time, we built resilience. In that time, most of us that did the work, right? Most of us that actually did the work became more emotionally resilient. The ones that had a shit year but did not do the work, they're the ones that are buying 200 toilet papers right now. Right? They're the ones that are really going into that fight flight, lowering their immune systems, most likely are getting sick. But those are the ones that did the work and evolved. See, a lot of people do the work, they read books, they do, I know, but they don't put it into action. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about those people that did the work, right, and evolved. Now, those people, I'm calling out to those people right now. Now is the time to step up, right? The universe has been taking care of every single one of us, which is why it's given us the technology now. When we go into social isolation, we don't have to go through loneliness. That's a choice. Right? We've got the technology, we've got the means. If you've noticed, technology is the one thing that hasn't been impacted. Right? Even the stock market, technology is the one, because right now that's real. Right? That's real. Everything else that's not real is going out. Technology is supporting us right now through this part.
That's true, because if you take out technology, I don't think people realize, it's like I always say, like you go on a holiday or you go overseas where you're almost restricted in terms of using your phone because of international charges or whatever, and you're like, I'm on a holiday. And you're like, you come back and you're there and you're like, man, the first thing that comes to your head is, fuck, I use my phone a lot. You know what I mean? And you realize how big this technology, like you said, plays a part in your life. It's not till you don't use it or you're forced to not use it based on your situation, whether you're overseas, whatever, you don't use it as frequently, right? And then you realize, you're like, man, this thing is like part of my life, everyday living, no matter what happens, you know what I mean? It's part of my life.
Well, so how we use technology is going to change now as well, right? Because how we used to use technology is to disconnect. Like you will go out for for dinner with family and we'll all be on our phones. Right? We're using this in the form of me getting away from you. Right? Now we can change the way that we actually view technology. Right? It's not about hiding anymore. It's about real intimacy. And I use the word intimacy, not just connection, a deeper form of connection. Now with some of the work that I'm doing, like I'll talk about this a bit later, some of the work that I'm using technology, right, to teach people how to connect, teach people about passion, about their purpose, how to build emotional resilience. Now, I've spoken about this excitement consciousness. For those of you that are in that panic or not excited, right? If you are not excited about this time that's happening right now, you're on your verge of panicking. You just don't know it yet. So for those of us right now, what date is it today?
18th?
18th,
Yeah.
right? Now is not the time to take action. Now is not the time to take action. Right? Whatever it is that we're doing, now is not the time. Now is the time to create space. Right? And which is why everything is shutting down. The universe is giving us time to create space. And in this space, slow the fuck down. Now, I use an acronym called MEDS, right? I can't remember exactly where I got it from, but it's a fucking awesome concept, right? MEDS, now's the time to take our meds. What I mean by that, meditate, exercise, our diet, which is very important, sleep. Okay? Because what happens, and this is what I teach in emotional resilience, right? Most of us, the panic consciousness is when their emotions are connected to your behavior, right? Your emotions dictate your behavior. Okay? So what current psychology tries to do, right, is teach you how to control your emotions, right? But in ancient psychology, in ancient Vedic psychology, right, we know that we can't control our emotions. Emotions can't be controlled, right? Because it's influenced by what we eat, by how our partner treats us, you know what, like, you know, all this stuff. We can't control our emotions, but what we can do, what's always in our control, is our behavior. But the panic psychology, the panic consciousness, links our emotion to our behavior. This is what we call panic. And there's other stuff that we can call this as well. We call these dickheads as well. Narcissists, right? All these people. And the thing is that for most of my life, right, and majority of us link our emotions to our behavior. Emotional resilience is our ability to separate our emotions from our behavior. Right? Now, emotions, they're going to go wild. We can't control that. But what we can do is create space. We can create a space between our emotions and behavior. But we have to link our behavior to something. Right? Because behavior has to be, otherwise how will we know how to behave? We need to link our behavior to our values, our purpose, our vision. If we lose that in this crisis, for those of us that know what our vision, purpose, values are, for those of you that don't, then you're already in your panic psychology, your consciousness, you're already there, right? So by associating your behavior to your values, your visions, and your purpose right now, it's going to allow you to leap forward, right? Right now, as I was saying, right now is the time to create space. We need to listen to our leaders right now. What the government is saying, what the experts are saying. Right? We need to listen to our leaders. Even if we don't like them, now's not the time to rebel against them. Right? Create that space. And in this space, we follow this acronym called MEDS. Meditate, exercise, diet, and sleep. Because when we are doing this stuff, we're in that emotional vibration, right? The emotional, mental, spiritual vibration to download information. Okay? We are going to be guided on what the next step is. From our spirit, from our universe, from God, whatever, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, whatever you want to call it, right? We are going to be guided, but we can only be guided when we create that space. Right? So right now is not the time to act. Not the time to go, you know, whatever we're planning to do. Now's the time to create that space, listen to what our leaders are doing, and when we're creating this space, we're going to be downloaded. And in this time, for those of you that do not know what your values are, that do not know what your purpose is, or what your vision is, use this space to figure it out. Right? Use this time that the universe has given us to figure it out. There are many people out there that can help you and guide you through this process. So while you're using this time to figure this out, then you can align your behavior, and then you can figure out, okay, fuck, this is where I'm going now. Right? When things kind of settle, which will take, like you said, 3 to 6 months at least, you are now prepared You're now equipped. You've got the tools. You've got the resources. You've processed your past traumas. You've processed what's happened to you once upon a time. You've done the work. You are now ready to go fucking kick ass. So I'm excited for those people. For those people that don't do this work. The recovery from this is going to be decades.
Why would you say that?
If you live, like, for someone that is a control freak, for someone that, like, you know, has put money in their career over their relationships and their purpose and their, you know, all of these things, society, our global consciousness is going to change. You're going to be left behind, right? For those people that don't do the work right now, you're going to be left behind. Because people are going to start stepping up. Leaders over the next 2 to 3 years is going to be stepping up. Because right now, everything fake, as I was saying, is falling. Right? The divorce rate, after this, the divorce rate is going to be high. Or it's not. Right? Or it's not. It's going to reduce or it's going to be high. It won't stay the same. Nothing is going to stay the same. Right now, I think the divorce rate is hitting close to 60% of marriages.
In Australia?
In Australia, I think it's close to just under 50. Right? But with, like, you know, now more people are getting married, you know, with, which I think is great, with the same-sex marriages getting married. Now there's more people getting married, and therefore more people are getting divorced, right? So that number's going to increase. But that is not going to stay the same. If we do not use this time to evolve the fuck up, that 50% is going to go up to 90%. Right? It's going to go up to about 90%. Right? Right now, 50% of all Australians go through some sort of mental illnesses. This number is definitely going to increase for the foreseeable future. Right? For the foreseeable future, this number is definitely going to increase. But there's no getting out of that. Okay, as you're doing the work, this number is going to increase. Right? There's no getting out of that. But you can get help now. With the technology that's available right now, you can get the help that you need in order to get that. Right? It's available, it's present, it's right now. Okay? So mental health is going to get increased, depression is going to increase, divorce rates are going to increase, or it's not. Right? It's either going to increase quite a bit or it's going to decrease significantly, and it's going to stay that way, depending on what we do next. People are going to find jobs that they love, and this is definitely going to happen. Right? Because the unemployment rate is 100% going to increase. There's no, I mean, like, look what's happening. Right? We think GFC 2008 was bad. What's about to come is going to be worse. Okay? So unemployment is definitely going to increase. Because of the unemployment, people are going to lose faith in their jobs. Right? And by the way, you know what job stands for? Right? Just over broke. Right? You and I, we're not living a job, we're living a calling. Right? That's different. Right? Job stands for just over broke. So those of you that, like, you know, and there's 76% of Australians, recent stats, right, that are not engaged with their employment. Right? So these 76% of people, right, they're going to find something. They're going to find that medicine that is in their heart. Right? There's no getting out of that. And those people that don't connect with that medicine, what I mean by that is their passion and their purpose, the why they were created on this planet. Those people that do not find that, these are the people that are going to be impacted the most over the next 10 years, at least. And for those of you that have parents, that have kids, guess what? Your kids are watching right now on how you're dealing with this coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, that's and that's something I don't think even consciously, you're talking consciousness and you're talking being aware, that's something that's been happening for so long, but because we've accepted it, right? And you would know, like, for,
Yeah.
especially like people that come from like a migrant background,
Yeah.
that you're growing up around the fact that your life is set out for you, or you're growing up seeing your parents put in the hard hours, the
Yeah.
hard work, and that's all they know, hard work. So if that's gonna break you, then that's what's gonna break you, But something that I was thinking about not long ago was that, like, they feed off that energy. So like our generation, with your generation, like I'm talking as a whole, we've grown up seeing that, and until you get to the certain point where you're aware of that, you don't realize that that's how you've been thinking. That's how you have your life set out. It's based and drawn from the emotions of how you've seen your parents come home after work, or how they are on the stressful days, and you see that and you're like, it kind of feeds into you, and then so you react on situations, or you deal with situations, you make decisions, or you kind of live your day-to-day life based on that energy, because that's all you've ever known.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, I had this conversation with my wife. I'm like, when we have kids, I don't want them to fucking come home and see me fucking broken every day, because then that's what they're gonna end up feeding onto. And I believe in that, because I believe in that, because that's how I've experienced life, feeding off energy, feeding off,
But if they see you overcome that, right?
Yeah.
So it's not, don't show your kids that you're broken.
Yeah.
Show them that you're broken.
Yeah.
Right? But then also show them how you overcome that. See, I know, like, bro, there has never been a situation, right? I've known you since we were this big.
Yeah.
Well, you were this big, I was this big. Right? During those times, there's never been a situation that's broken you that you haven't been able to overcome.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Right? But those people that are like, those because you live in that excitement consciousness, you own that. But those people that live in the panic consciousness, you get broken, right? And you don't really heal. You just suppress. Your kids are watching. They're learning. They're learning how to suppress emotions. It never worked well for other people. Why would it work well for your kids?
That's my point. Yeah, and
right?
I mean, going to the point that you're making, I think, like you want to show that. You want to show the adversity, you want to show you overcoming adversity, because that kind of energy, it makes you believe that no matter how much fucked up shit's going on, I'm gonna find a way to fucking survive, I'm gonna find a way to make it work. And that becomes an infectious, it becomes like this infectious drug in your system, because you're like, well, that's why I say, when you understand, and you are and you've got a level of understanding for that, and you apply it to your life, like you apply, whether it's religion or whatever it is, it's scary, because you realize you unlock and untap this potential in yourself, just on the basis of your train of thought, and how you've how your perception is, and how you've kind of processed information, and how you process the situation. It just completely changes it. And I believe in that, because I've experienced things in life that have taught me that, it starts with fear, and then you do what it is fear. Like, whether it's when I first got in a ring and fought or whatever, and training and all these things, it wasn't I wasn't excited. Like, it's not that I didn't want to do it. It's that the whole process, fucking, I had some sleep. Am I gonna be okay? Am I gonna be able to get through this? And how is it gonna turn out? And all these things. I'll be lying if I said, oh man, I'm made for this shit. It's not that I never said I wasn't, and it's not that I said I was. It's that those thoughts in your head, right? And then I got through the first one, and then it was like, I'm not satisfied with that.
Yeah.
I need more. But that fear completely went away, and I realized that I'm capable of doing something that all my life I thought, man, you must be crazy if you want to do this, right?
Yeah.
And then growing up with older brothers, like your brother would know, like you watch them be the providers for you, right? You watch them be the alpha dogs for you, right? The alpha males, right? And in your head, that's what resonates with you. But then for me, like, I have to step out of the shadow and be the one. But then the perception was, man, I wouldn't be in this direction if it wasn't for my alpha males and the people that protected me and showed me what standing up for yourself was, and all these things, you know what I mean? So now I don't look at it as not just now, but like as I kept training, and what was like, man, you're carrying a lot of people on your back that represented you and looked after you at a certain stage, you know what I mean? So that fear, that way of thinking, it all changes the moment that that's what I tell people, like, and I'm not an expert at it, but the one thing that I've learned about life is that it's funny, like you fear something or something you want to do, and then you do it, and then you just like, you feel reinvigorated. You're like, whoa, this is the greatest thing I ever did. And it happens over and over and over again till you realize that this is some sort of algorithm to life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It becomes an algorithm to life, So like anything that you fear, anything that you want to do, you do it, and afterwards you're alive, bro. Whether it's I've never done skydiving, but whether it's skydiving or bungee jumping or whatever it is, right? You look at even Will Smith now all over his Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Or, he's elevated his game from movies, and like I feel like we're seeing the most important Will Smith right now.
Yeah.
Because he's himself right now. Right?
Yes.
And he's the guy that we grew up watching in movies and Fresh Prince and all this shit, right? But now he's like, man, I want to tackle fear. I want to tackle things. So fucking jumps over, hangs off a fucking helicopter, upside down, all this shit. But then he's evolving, and he's sharing it with the rest of the world. He's taking Instagram, something that people resonated with, Insta models and blogging and all this, and he's taken that device and that tool and that platform and fucking turned it around and made the whole world happy. He makes the whole world happy. He's engaged with what he's doing. People are like so happy when they see his stuff, because he's bringing joy. He's bringing that sense of excitement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's Will Smith the person, not Will Smith who's in Independence Day, Bad Boys, or you know what I mean?
Great movies.
The great movies. Yeah.
Now, going back to what you were saying, right, about fear and like your purpose and living it, right? So here's the thing about the panic consciousness and the excitement consciousness, right? Fear runs both consciousness, right? Now hear me. Fear runs both these consciousness. The panic consciousness, fear makes them lose their identity, lose their value, lose their morals. Like we're seeing people push over disabled people in order to get toilet paper, right? We're seeing people having punch-ups in shopping centers over toilet paper, right? So fear for this panic consciousness, right, makes them lose who they are, right? So fear makes them losers, okay? I feel really saddened to say this is because most of my family, right, exist in there. So me calling this consciousness people that are losers, I don't say this lightly. It hurts when I say this, right? Because most of the people I know fall into this. The second part of it, fear still rides like excitement, right? Now, the difference is fear is still here, but we still do the work despite it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's always going to be there.
It's always going to be here. It's an emotion, like sadness and happiness and love. It's just an emotion, right? And we question ourselves. Is this the right thing? Are we good enough? Are we worthy enough? We question this, and we call this imposter syndrome, which is fine. Only leaders have imposter syndrome. People that are playing a small game, they don't have imposter syndrome. They have judgment syndrome, right? Resentment syndrome, right? Anger, like, hey, you're brown and fucking why are you doing that, right? So like, you're not better than me, right? That's the syndrome they have. But leaders, the ones that live in an excitement psychology, so excitement consciousness, what we have, we still have fear, but fear is not going to stop us. It might slow us down a little bit, you know what I mean? Right? Until we hit the threshold where we go, yep, cool, boom, I'm still going to do it. But please hear me. I'm not talking about danger here. I'm not talking about danger. I'm not talking about jumping out of a parachute without jumping out of a plane without a parachute or something like that, right? That's just stupidity. That's danger. I'm not talking about fighting a fucking tiger or a lion, right? Now, you got to know the difference between danger and fear.
Mm.
I'm talking about the fear of going to the shops and actually still like showing compassion to other human beings, even though in the back of your mind, you're like going, fuck, like, I might catch this shit, right? It's showing love. It's showing going out there and saying no, like what you and I did, saying no to the career, the job, the just over broke, right, lifestyle that we're living, and saying yes to living a life of passion and purpose and impact, right? That's what we're saying yes to. Okay, so by saying that, right, living out of that, evolving out of that fear and getting something a bit higher, that's what I'm talking about here. Right? Fear is existing in every single one of those cases, right?
Do you think that, what do you think that people, I mean, obviously there's information and obviously there's things that people can always look to gain a better understanding, but from my experience with fear, a lot of the I guess the little categories that you touched on while we've been talking, like for example, loneliness, right? It stood out to me when you said it, at the start of our conversation. But I realized that whatever it is that you want to do, you as a person, right? Like no one else is going to understand it the way you do because it's your thought process, it's what you're passionate about, right? When you go about doing what you're doing, you realize you start to kind of connect with different people that have similar interests, especially now with the world of technology. Someone from the other side of the world could be like, yo, I like what you're doing, right? And I found that whatever it is that you want to do, like you're really passionate about, it's going to be a lonely process.
Yeah.
And so when you approach that gate of like loneliness, when you're in a stage of creating things or whatever it is that you're trying to do, what I tell people is don't be disheartened by the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation is that people who you think is going to support you ain't going to support you, regardless of how long you've known them for.
Yeah.
Right? Because
everything fake will be lost.
Yeah. Right. And I think the ones between the ones that are like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then kind of go into the other line of the people that kind of go and hide in their cave, is the reality is that everything that I've ever known, right, partially is a fucking lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie because I spent and invested all this time doing this, going here. These are the group of people that I always hang out with. If I don't, if I do this, then I'm not going to do what I've been doing every week, or I'm not going to be able to go and, go and socialize in places that I've only ever known.
Yeah.
Right? But what I tell people is that don't look at it as sacrifice. That's what you're seeing now is the reality. The reality is that you might meet people, like that's what I said, like I've met people in my life now that are like lifelong friends.
Yes.
That I don't see week in, week out, right? But like when I speak to them, when I talk to them, it's like I've known them since I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's not coincidence. That's not like, we come with this mentality that everything is numbers, everything is time. So, like for example, if, I've known him for 18 years, 20 years, and that's what they say, yeah, he's my friend, I've known him for 20 years, right? And that's meant to represent that we're close. Yeah. That word, that sentence is meant to represent how close you are, how well you know each other, you know what I mean? But someone else could see a personality or could see something in you, right? That someone who's been part of your whole life hasn't, right? And the fear is that that's all I've ever known. And so you rather go the route of what you know than what you don't know, because you're more comfortable. As I said, people are more comfortable in a hole than outside the hole, because in a hole, you're surrounded by a wall, you can see the space you're dealing with. You get outside, you climb outside the hole, it's an open world. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So you're more comfortable being in the sense of surrounding of four walls that you know than as opposed to an open world where anything can happen. And then you meet all this, but then what I tell you, the beauty is you meet people. When you're following what you're doing, you will meet people that it's like you've known them all your life. That's not coincidence. That's when you're chasing the same energy that when you're chasing, what is it that's waking you up every day and putting you to sleep, sleepless nights thinking this is what I want to do, or this is what this is how I want to go about it. You're naturally going to meet people, network with people, other like-minded people, because there's no way that only one of you in a population of billions can think the way you think. It's ridiculous.
Provided that you do the work.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So like the whole thing, build it and they'll come.
Yeah.
Right? No, it doesn't work.
No.
So let's decode everything that you just said, because you've downloaded so much like amazing in flow. First of all, loneliness. The state, so there's a difference between being alone and loneliness, right? Being alone is where all the amazing things happen, right? It's like all the creativity flow and stuff like that. Now, loneliness is a calling for awakening, right? Loneliness is the calling for awakening. Because we can't be awoke as a mass, right? We can't do that with our friends and our wives and our family. We need to go internally, right? To find that thing that's going to wake us up. And which is why we go through coaches and mentors and spiritual healers, spiritual guides, because they take us on a journey to go within. Loneliness is that calling, but some live their entire life in a state of loneliness, and then on top of that comes mental health issues. Now this is what most people don't understand. We as a planet right now are going to a place of loneliness. So what does this mean to human consciousness? It's the universe is begging us, pleading us. I'm giving you everything, you idiots. Right? I've got your back. Wake the fuck up. That's it. Wake up. And if you can't wake up now, I don't know what else that I can give you to wake up. If you don't find your thing, the why I created you to be on this planet, I'm not sure what else I can do right now. It's begging with us. It's given us this gift. It's given us time to connect with our loved ones. It's given us time to go deep internally and find what it is that we're going to do after we come out of this crisis, because this crisis will end, but your awakening, and that's your choice. Loneliness is the calling for us to wake up. Now, we've done this for generations, right? In our ancient cultures, we used to go on walkabouts with an elder. We'll go with a walkabout for an elder from the age of 8 to about 16 sometimes, some cultures. And in this time, we'll be learning how to fend all the tribal stuff, but we also learn how to connect with our land, connect with our ancestors, connect with who we are. And after we connect with who we are, we then get shown a gift, right? In the Aboriginal communities, or even the Indian communities, we find our guardian animal, right? We have a conversation, a spiritual conversation with, okay, this is why I created you. But now we don't have those rituals. Like, by just simply hitting 18, we're expected that we're going to be, know what we're going to be doing in life, right? But back in those ancient cultures, we had a journey that we had to go to, and we get deep connected. This is that time. Now is the time, and we have been supported. We've been given things like this, right? We've been given everything, right? Like the universe has been taking care of us so much, right? It's been supporting us with so much. It's been preparing ourselves with so much, and if we don't step up now, right? Even worse things are going to start happening. More than my brain can compute, or your brain can compute. Suffering will increase if we don't wake the fuck up. Now, not all of us need to wake up. 4%.
Really?
4%. Now, there's studies actually done by this. If 4% of humanity wakes up, that causes a ripple effect. right? That's the beginning of the new consciousness. So all we need out of 7.7 billion people, we need 4%
To wake the fuck up.
to wake the fuck up. That's it. Right? So all these people that that want to keep fighting against shopping centers, they can. But those people that are watching, that are listening, right, just need 4% of you to wake the fuck up. And you go create another 4%. And you go create another 4%. And that consciousness expands. Now, there were studies that was done, they took some monks into some, I can't remember the place, it was a very, like a gangster place, a gangster hood, right? And they started teaching meditation. 4%, and they got 4% of people in that district to actually come to these meditations and start meditating and whatnot, right? Crime rates dropped by 66%.
That's ridiculous.
60 fucking 6.
That's not even a gradual decrease. That's
That's 12 months.
That's,
within less than 12 months.
Yeah. Which is
that's a massive place. Now I wish I had all the details. Right. But like, this is what happens when 4% of consciousness rises. Now this one was more about just that suburb, right? 4% of consciousness rises. This is how powerful that is. So we don't need everyone to go from panic to excitement. We just need 4% of people to go into that space. That's it.
It seems like everything is just linked to the one thing, which is, sometimes you just need to calm the fuck down, especially with the way the world is moving, right? Everything is just 100 miles per hour at the moment, right? And you start to live your life that way. But like something that I brought up with some people not long ago, and I posed them the question. I was like, man, when you guys were growing up, so these are like 2-3 generations older than me, right? All workmates that are much older and in the late 50s, 60s, and we're having coffee. And I said to them, I was like, when you guys wanted to be, if you wanted to become a mechanic, if you wanted to become a painter, right? Back in your heyday, right? When you didn't have the technology that you have now, right? Which means you were very disengaged with what was going on around the world, unless you weren't looking for it, unless you reported it, right, through news or whatever. But you went to work every day, right? If you wanted to become a painter or wanted to become a mechanic, that's what you did. That was your job. And you thought you were living the dream because you finally you're doing something that you're passionate about. But now in the digital age that we live in, we're too busy seeing what everyone else is doing than what is it that I want to do. Right? Because now there's a stature of comparing it to whether whatever it is you're doing compared to what everyone else is doing, what success is. There's like, we're getting fucking shot in 15 different directions by so many different things that are happening right now that we are perceiving and creating these ideologies in our head that is not really real existent. Because going back to what you're saying, that's where things like meditation and all these things really slowed things down and made me realize that you're okay, man. You're going about what you should be doing. Those are the answers that I got when I started getting into meditation and stuff. Thrown back to me was that, hey, you're all right, bro. You're all right. Relax.
It's only when we create that space we can download the information.
Exactly.
The thing is that we use this to figure out what we need to do and why we need to do it. And the thing is that this is not designed to figure out what we need to do. This is only designed to figure out the how. We give way too much responsibility to this. What we need to do, why we need to do it, when we need to do it, comes to us when we create that space. It literally, like you probably had the $1 million idea at 3 o'clock in the morning, because that's when this turned off, right? Or when you were taking a shit, or like when you were driving, or when you're having a shower, right? Like this whole business probably came to you just like boom one day, right? It's because you created that space. That's all we need to do now, guys, is that create that space and slow down, and then your calling is going to come to you. You then, after that happens, you then need to take action.
Yeah, put in the work. I mean, you have to put in the work. But it's funny because I don't like this word hard work, and I don't like this thing of putting in work, because that is a given. My fear is not hard work.
Mm.
My fear is not putting in work. My fear is not having to hustle like whatever it is, because that's a given. That is what I will do to get what I want. But it's the finding. What is going to make me feel like that? What is going to make me give my hustle mentality and feel like, okay, I'm going to work my ass off. You know what I mean? Because it's different. You don't think hard work when you're doing what you want. You're thinking, I need to get it done. Okay, what do I need to do to get done? And my whole mentality, even when I kind of was doing all of this, was, okay, what do I need to do next?
Yes.
Tick it off. When you know, it's like this theory I have about
quality of questions.
Yeah, the 10 doors. You know what I mean? From door number 1, you're already trying to figure out how to get to door number 10, but you can't see a way, right? So when you don't see a way, what happens? Panic comes in. When you don't see a way, negativity comes in. When you don't see a way, you're thinking, nah, I must be crazy to think like this. I must be crazy to even imagine that this is possible.
Yeah.
But what people don't know is that find a way to door number 2. And door number 2 will tell you a way to get to door number 3. Door number 3 will tell you a way to get to door number 4. And before you know it, you get to door number 10. And by the time you got to door number 10, you're fucking deep in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it seems unattainable when you're looking at it from door number 1. And thinking, how do I get to the 10th step?
Yeah.
What do I do next?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, go buy a mic. Oh, okay, what do I do next? Find some people to do content with. Oh, okay, now I know how to do this. Now I know how to do this. Oh, I'll go about doing it this way. Then what happens? Hey, man, I like what you're doing. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, cool. Can I come and meet you and see if we can help each other out? That stage is not going to happen till you realize, hey, I need to get a camera. I need to record myself talking, just like I would say in your business and in your world and what you're passionate about, right? It all started off with the camera and talking to the audience, talking to before gauging in on bigger audiences that coming out of their way to sit in front of you and learn from you and get information from you and you helping them, you know. But if you didn't do the whole, hey, I'll get on Facebook Live or I'll get on thing and speak to people, that step, if you didn't do that, who knows where you would be? You get what I'm saying? So sometimes you're not going to find the answers because you haven't even thought about first doing the most absolute basic need, which is film yourself, get people, do it. Then you'll figure out how to reach a wider audience and platform, but you got to be willing to go step by step instead of thinking, I want the end result.
Yeah.
But like I tell people, even when they ask me about my fights or whatever, they're like, I said, bro, I remember the fight. I enjoyed the fight. But that's not what I remember in the end of the day. I remember all the fucking the work that I had to put in leading up to it, the process.
Yeah.
That's what stands out to me. That's where the evolving, that's where who you figure out comes out. That's where all these little things about what I want to do, my existence, all that comes out in those process. The fight is just the end result. Yeah. But it's turning up every day to training. Looking after yourself, sleeping, eating, you know what I mean? Now meditation, all these things put together that gives you that final complete
and sleep.
And sleep, that gives you that final result.
Yeah.
But and when I started thinking that way, it's not to say, like I said, it's not to say that it's gonna work out or not. Like even with this, it's more the fact that if someone grabs the baton in a relay and runs with what you were doing, and you may not be the one to complete it, but you get to see it, bro, pat yourself in the back. Yeah. Because that's something you created. Not everything has monetary value. Not everything needs to have monetary value to feel like it's success. Yeah. Because life gets impacted, people get impacted, culture gets impacted in different ways. So it's like, don't worry about the 10th step without worrying about how to get to the 2nd step. Yeah. Because when you get to the 2nd step, you will figure out how to get to the 3rd step. Yes. You know what I mean? It's just baby steps.
Provided that you stop hating.
Yeah.
Right? Provided that you stop judging other people. And how you move quickly through those steps is help another brother out. Or sister out.
Yeah. 100%.
If you're at door number 2, help the person that's on door number 1. Right? Because the person on door number 5 will help you get through that as well. Right? When you see someone on the street that needs help, give them a hand. Right? I mean, take your time out. Show your human side to people. And that's what today, right now, that's what we need. We need people to show our human side. So,
But, man, we could keep talking.
Yeah, we
for
can keep
hours.
talking. Yeah.
But, just before we end it off, tell us a little bit about what got you into this. Like, what drove you down this side of wanting to help people, and like, obviously, without me going too much into it, it has to obviously start with yourself, right?
You're 100%.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of things happened, right? Like with most of us, like, came from a war-torn country. One of the first memories I have was actually a war incident of us hiding away, right, from the age of 2. The second part of it is a lot of domestic violence that happened at home, especially when my family came over here. We never really fit in, especially when we came in the 80s. I was a different colored skin. There was a lot of things that kind of just added on to the pain. When I grew older, there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of depression, there was a lot of drugs that was in play. And the real final straw happened, and there was not just one moment, right? There was a series of moments, right? And it was like the thought of suicide was playing in my head for decades. Like, even from a very young kid, I can remember my first suicidal thought would happen when I was about 8 or 7. And it continued till basically 20s. And it was at, like, there was this moment where I just thought, I can either do this, end it, or I can give myself an honest crack in life, right? And it was after a real heartbreaking breakup. I thought, you know what, fuck, that's enough. Let's just get into it. Let's just give this a go. And if it doesn't work, I can always go with option 1, right? Option 1 never came through, right? The suicide thing never came through, right? I just went all at it, right? One thing led to another. I never thought of becoming a coach. Like, I did this work purely for me, right? To evolve me. And that's the kind of best kind of work that happens, right? When you do it for yourself.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Purely for yourself. And in the process of it, help 1-2 other people out. And that's what I did. Right? But as I was doing this for myself, guess what? My career kind of blossomed. Not my coaching career, but my IT career. Until I reached a stage where I was seeing, like, 10 hours of coaching and doing about 60 hours at work. Right? And then my coaching business kind of went through, and it was just like, it makes no sense to do a job that I don't like. Right? I've got this business that's kind of like, I love it. I wake up for this stuff. Right? Like, like, why don't I jump into it full time? So about 5 years ago, I jumped into it full time. I help people find their passion, purpose, and find their identity. People that are, which right now is like half the planet. If not more, right? It's significantly more than that, right? Help them overcome their, I call myself emotional resilience coach. Basically what I do is help people in there as a passion, purpose, and create impact in this world. Take them through that journey of finding out who they really are, what they really want, right? Help people that are feeling lost, stuck, and confused in their life. Right? And so that's kind of the whirlwind of it.
Well, pretty much you want people to feel what you felt when you went on this journey, right? And that's the impact that had on yourself, and realize that how many other people must be feeling like this, right? And for those that, I know there's skeptical people that know, they when they see life coach or whatever it is, but you ask any successful business person, whatever, they've all done something along these lines to help them. And it's not like someone telling you that, giving you the answers to life. It's allowing you to be consciously on a different platform to evaluate your own life.
Yes.
And bring some sort of sense into it. So don't, anyone watching, whatnot, like, man, Niro just dropped some fucking diamonds today, like diamonds that cost a lot for you to find out or even to hear otherwise. So, don't be skeptical of these people that are trying to do, trying to do something like this. It's not some, like fake bullshit or some, some crap that they're trying to sell, like palm, like, I'm not saying palm readers and everything, but what I mean is, it's not this, don't think of it the same way. It's valuable information, and it's not someone telling you what you should know. It's you being able dive into your own mind itself by answering certain questions that are going to give you answers that are going to change the way you you live your life. But for those that don't know, how can they get in contact with you, and where can they find you and follow you?
Yeah, so basically, I'm going to be over this coronavirus state. My Instagram handle is emotional.badass.
Yeah, I'll drop it on.
Right?
I'll drop it on Instagram. Yeah.
So you'll drop all the details on that one. One thing I do want to say to the guys, to support you through this journey of coronavirus, finding your passion, finding your purpose, finding all of this stuff, I've created a Facebook group called Passion, Purpose and Impact for people that want to love the life that they wake up to. Right, so that's the name of the page.
Yeah.
Right, just type in Passion, Purpose, Impact. You'll be able to find it, and you'll see my head somewhere along those pages.
Yeah.
Right, and it's totally free.
Yeah.
Right, you don't have to pay for anything. There's nothing there that you need to buy. But what I am going to be hitting starting next week, I'm going to be doing a lot of meditation programs on that, totally free. Talks like this, totally free. I might even actually get ask you to jump on and do something as well.
For sure.
Right, and this is really about helping people during this time to really contribute, to really evolve our consciousness right now. Now is the time to evolve, or dangerous things are going to start happening to every single one of us. Right, so to promote that, to encourage that, and to evolve our consciousness.
Yeah.
Right, I've created this page and I'm going to add a lot of value to it. So if you listeners want to jump on, please do.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
I appreciate you coming through, man. It means a lot.